Living in a time where so many unwanted and incredulous things can happen to you, you kind of want to be ensured that if something bad does happen to you, you have a fair judgment system behind you that can get you to where you need to be afterwards. But with that being said, there's a few parameters that you kind of have to stay within if you want that judgment process to be fair for you. And they kind of go unspoken, so I'm going to speak them today and hopefully inform some people so they can get the treatment that they deserve. Here are the 5 steps to being the perfect victim. And the first one, I feel like we kind of already know. Don't be a woman. Because, I mean, we all know how women are. You know, they're liars, they're cheaters, they're promiscuous, and worst of all, they don't have penises. So who should trust them or listen to them anyways? Step number 2, don't break the law. And I mean, like, ever, because who wants to trust or support a lousy criminal? The only real loophole around this step is having the good old trusty trump card under your belt. And I mean, like, literally the trump card. Just have a lot of money and no one really care. Other than that, you're pretty much cooked no matter how big or small your crime was. If you got a minor possession charge in your late teens, you can kiss all your sympathy goodbye. Step number 3, don't do drugs. Not because drugs are bad for you, it's because drugs make you evil. Let's take a trip down memory lane when George Floyd died and we saw all that wacky tobacco and all that other bad stuff in his system in his autopsy. So not only was Mr. Floyd a good for nothing criminal, he did drugs. And if you didn't know what drugs stand for, it's demons running up the gas spending. So if you're as mad about the gas prices as I am, you should blame people like George Floyd because he does drugs. And another thing that you may not know about drugs, when you do drugs, there's a demon that crawls into your chest and falls asleep. And the only way you can wake it up is when someone puts their knee into your back. And if you think I'm lying, you should try this test out. Find one of your friends and just knee them in the back as hard as possible. And if they end up short of breath afterwards, they do drugs. But enough about that because it's hard staying in character right now. Step number 4, don't express unpopular opinions online. Knock on wood, Lord forbid this ever happens. Let's say hypothetically I come up onto this camera one day and I'm like, hey, I'm taking a step away from content for a while. My mother just passed. There's gonna be some piece of shit on Twitter that sees it and is like, wasn't he Team Meg during the Megan and Nicki beef? Now his mama dead. Ironic, ain't it? Because even if I did change my opinion on that beef and Nicki Minaj and Megan and all that, I didn't, but let's say I did. But even if I did have a change of heart and become a better person over time, it wouldn't matter at the end of the day because nobody wants to see you become a better person. They want you to acknowledge that you're bad so they can reaffirm them condemning you to begin with. But with all that other stuff being said, step number 5, don't accuse anybody with any sort of lapse or lack of evidence. Because if there's any, and I mean any possible way to poke a hole or find a loop into your story, you're just a liar now. Because for a good example, let's use the Tory and Meg situation when Tory had shot Meg. Now this tactic that I'm going to share with y'all might have failed because after all, Megan is a woman. When she started to see a bullet fly in her direction, she should have slowed down time, pulled her phone out, and recorded the bullet going into her body so nobody would be able to dispute it. Because after all, if it's recorded, it's true. Like everything that's like said and done on the camera like has to be real, right? And that was a horrible video. I'm gonna go read my Bible or something. So like, comment, subscribe. Love y'all. Bye. Outro.
Two things I ain't ever seen. A nigga that beat a gun.